more and more it has become abundantly clear over time that you,
Now turn right onto
everything that
Whitehurst.
you see, everything that you do, how people treat you, what you have, your financial situation, your love situation, your network of people, network of friends, how your friends treat you, all of these are solely, and I mean this literally, a reflection of what's going inside of you, what's going on inside of you. And the cool thing is that you have the power to change your situation, to increase every aspect that you want to increase. So much so that it becomes, as time goes on, you'll start to see that blaming other people, even people who seemingly do wrong to you, is almost, I'm going to use this word purposefully, almost retarded. Because there's no one to blame except for yourself. There's nothing outside of you that can do anything to change you or change your situation. Okay, so this is really, really deep stuff. Okay, and I don't know how this video is gonna do, but I love talking about this stuff. This is uh, what I've been really on for quite a bit of time now. And I've had profound effects of this throughout my entire life, and it's why I am where I am. It's why I have what I have. It's why my social circle is what it is, and why I'm personally abundantly happy. So all that said, if you don't like thinking deeply, then this is probably not the video for you. And that's not meant as a slight or anything like that. Sometimes we need more of the practical stuffs, right? Sometimes we need to show me the tips, show me the tricks, show me the things like that. I fall into that with other things right now, and there's nothing wrong with that. This is much more deep and is kind of a foundational thought process that will help later on with a whole bunch of things. So I have a belief that, it's not a belief, it's a knowing because it's happened over and over and over again. I know that my thoughts create my reality. Uh, uh, Small examples are when I first realized, not realized, but I put really into practice this concept. One of the ways that you can make stuff like this, like test it out and see if it actually works, is to do it on small things. The first small thing that I did, I might just keep this as the only example, but I might, anyway, let's just go into it. It's funny because it's a little bit, this is one of those things where it's kind of hard for me to talk about because sometimes it sounds crazy. Anyway, one of the ways to test that a lot of people do is by getting free cups of coffee or small things. And essentially, you use your imagination, you visualize yourself getting a free cup of coffee, and you create the scene, and you do it right before you go to bed, okay? Right in that groggy state. It's either right before you go to bed or right when you wake up. It's this groggy state where your subconscious and conscious are like married. And so I started imagining getting free cups of coffee. And I had done something like this before, and it's how I got my house that I'm at right now. No joke. And I've shared this story before. I'll share it again in another thing. But I got my house. It's how I got my income, which was completely there. I was thinking there's no way this was going to happen, and because it was so far from where I was, but to the exact number per month, it happened. Okay, so these small little tests, I'm thinking, yeah, I know this works, and so it's definitely gonna happen when, it's gonna happen maybe tomorrow or the next day or whatever, right? So overnight, a couple of nights, I was thinking about free cups of coffee and getting at Starbucks and making these scenarios and so on. Then I go to sleep, and it wasn't happening. It was I was so attached to the outcome of it, and I'm thinking, oh man, this might not work then. This might what why is this not working the way I thought it was going to work? I know it's happened in the past, and this is just a free cup of coffee. Come on. And so I eventually just kind of let it go. And when I let it go, it was like bam, 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 bam. I ended up getting like 4 cups of coffee free. One was a friend of mine at a Starbucks, and they just said, oh, do you know this one's on the house? And I actually went up to her after. I'm like, why'd you give me a free cup of coffee? And she's like, oh, well, because we love you. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then it happened again. It was a mistaken order, and another barista was like, hey, do you want this? They made a mistake on this order. I'm like, sure. And then it was again and again. And so when you start to realize that there's nothing to change, there's nobody to change except for yourself. There's nobody to alter except for yourself. That your world is created by your thoughts. Things become really exciting and scary at the same time. I was listening to this one YouTuber, and he was sharing on this concept, and he said that if you don't like what you see in the mirror, say you're wearing a specific outfit, you don't go and blame the mirror and go and break the mirror and find a different mirror. You can go and try and find as many mirrors as you want. It doesn't matter if you get the most expensive mirror, if you get the ugliest mirror, the biggest mirror, the smallest mirror. It does not matter at all. It will still show you your reflection. It'll just show you you. It reflects back you. It does. I mean, you can get a different color. You can do things that might hide certain things in the reflection. But ultimately, you're only going to see what is reflected back in that mirror. And so, that said, you only have to change yourself. If you want to change what you see in the mirror, you go and put on different clothes. This is why you'll find that people who are wealthy or they're born from wealth, they tend to stay wealthy. Because in their mind, they're so used to that status, that their mind, their subconscious, works to keep them up at that status. Think of the people who are in your life who maybe are in bad situations, maybe bad relationships or whatever. If you listen to the way they talk to themselves and you see what they say, you'll very quickly realize that they are in their situation because that's how they see themselves. They might say that they need a knight in shining armor to come and rescue them. But if that knight in shining armor comes and rescues them, very often that woman, that lady will dump that guy because it's uncomfortable. It's not, he treats her right, he does all the great things, does all the things he should be doing, and she doesn't know how to react to that, so she dumps him and goes back to the jerk, right? See that time and time again. Same thing with poor people. I have people in my life who will not leave
Turn left onto South Walnut
certain cities because they believe that
Now turn left onto
that's
South Walnut
all they can afford. They will not they will not try to rent in places that are not dives, like dumps and stuff, because they believe that's all they can afford. These are family members. These are people who I'm close with. But their view of themselves holds them to a specific standard, to a specific way of living. And then on top of that, you might be experiencing what I experienced for decades, is when you think you are ugly or unwanted or unlovable, or you feel like you are not worthy of people's admiration or attention or respect, when you feel like you're less than everybody else, you very quickly see that you get treated like that by everybody else. You start to see that people won't let you into certain conversations. Like maybe you'll say something and your buddies will say, "Oh yeah, whatever, shut up." You know, they treat you in a way that you feel. And then when you do speak, or when you share a story, or when you are trying to be outgoing, or you are trying to be something that you don't really feel like you are, immediately it's shut down. And it doesn't matter who it is. It can be a grandma on the street. Immediately it gets shut down. All of this is an internal, because internally you feel that certain way. And physically you feel that certain way. And because you feel that, your outer world, how people react to you, reflect that. So as I was starting to come into who I am right now, I had to make a lot of internal changes and beliefs in my beliefs. So I used everything from subliminals. I still subscribe and I listen pretty much every day to an app on the Apple Store called Powerful Subliminals. And I don't really listen to music while I'm working out. I don't really listen to other things. I listen to subliminals. If I'm driving, I listen to subliminals. And what it does is it rewires subconsciously your thought process. You don't hear anything. All you hear is like vibrational music, like maybe like it's just like tones, beautiful, or it could be landscape, it could be rain or whatever. You don't hear anything, no words, no nothing, but it's subliminal. What's happening is you can't hear it, but your subconscious can hear it. Your subconscious hears everything that the person's saying, and what it does is it gets past that gatekeeper that's in your mind, blocking these changes that you want to make. And so I just put it on a playlist of all these different subliminals that I want to listen to, and I just let it go. I'll listen to it when I go to sleep. I'll listen to it at the gym. And it's hard because it's not music. It's just a tone, or it's just whatever. but if I'm working, I'll have it on and let it go in the background. And it changes how I think about myself. And there are other ways to have things like that happen. Another free, easy one is breath work. There's a YouTuber that I watch. His name is the channel is Breathe with Sandy, and I would suggest doing. You just jump right into it, and he has these five round breath work exercises where you hold your breath up to 3 minutes. And the reason why I say just like jump into it is if you can get through that, you'll actually end up reaching your subconscious mind so fast and release past traumas. You'll end up releasing things that were stuck there that you didn't even realize. You might end up crying or yelling or whatever for reasons you have no clue why. And it just happens. And what that allows you to do is allows your body to adjust to not being in fight or flight mode all the time. And so when you're changing these thought processes, these thought patterns with subliminals or just affirming, just telling yourself all the time, especially with your self-talk, if you rather than going, oh, I'm shy, I'm this, I'm that, you're like, I'm amazing. Even if it doesn't feel right, say, I'm friggin' awesome. People always want to talk to me. Why do people always want to talk to me? Why do people always smile at me? Why do people always want to be around me? Oh my gosh, this is so cool. And you start talking like that. You're going to start rewiring that internal brain of yours, that internal talk, that self-belief, that self-concept. And your body, with the breath work and things like that, is not going to have that fight or flight also resisting. And you're going to start seeing that other people start treating you very differently. The way that you want to be treated. I had people who, when I was making this change, basically say they would never accept what this change is. Those same people absolutely love my changes. Those same people are benefiting so much, and they, to the point where they almost pretty much literally forgot what they said and all the crap that they put me through. Because this is really who I am now. And because this is really who I am, they now
In 500 feet, turn right.
are able to decide, do I want to be with this person? Do I not want to be with this person? And because of their decision to be with me still, or be around me still, they benefit. So, but none of this can happen. None of this can happen if you are blaming other people. Oh, they should treat me this way. I should be making this amount of money. My boss sucks. My boss always yells at me. My boss always does this. My girlfriend always says this. My boyfriend always does this. They need to do X, Y, Z. When you start changing yourself, you'll start to see that every single one of them will change. And I'm not saying just change yourself for the better. Start visualizing how you want them to act. And you'll start to see that they will act in accordance with that. And I'm talking drastic changes. There are people in my life who you never thought would ever do some of the things that I wanted them to do. But because of the visualization and knowing that all I had to do was change myself, my self-concept, and it's a reflection, those changes happen in them. And this is a whole deeper process, deeper thought thing. but it is 100% true, 100% accurate. There's nobody to change except for yourself. And really, it's not changing yourself, it's changing your self-concept, your self-belief. It's changing who you believe yourself to be, really, truly, honestly, and allowing the changes that you want to flourish and to become that person. If you're shy and you want to be confident, you start changing your beliefs. You start visualizing what it would be like if you were the most confident person in the world. What would it be like if you could walk up to anyone? Doesn't matter how mean they looked, doesn't matter how beautiful they looked. What would it be like if you could go up to them and say whatever you wanted? What would it be like if you could tell stories that people wanted to hear? What would it feel like? What would it be like? What scenario could you come up in your mind that when you fall asleep, right before you go to bed, that you play that scenario the way it should be? You play that scenario, feel into it, what it feels like, what it sounds like, what it smells like, all those different things. And you do that night after night, and it doesn't take very long, you'll start to become that. And when you become that, you move into that state of the great storyteller, or the confident guy, or the amazing seducer, or whatever it might be, whatever it is that you want. You start becoming that. People around you will follow suit. People around you will follow suit. So, that makes life very exciting. That makes life very interesting. That makes life not by accident, by design. And if you are designing your life and it's not the way that you want it to be, the great thing is you can design it the way you want it to be. It's all on you, all of it. Very exciting stuff. So, all that being said, go and start designing your life. If you have any questions or comments or whatever that you want me to talk about, feel free to let me know in the comments, and I will gladly talk about that topic. All right, I've got some appointments to attend to, and I will see you next time.